to podcast 357 of 5-Star Potential, your weekly Football Manager podcast. I'm Duke, and on this week's pod, I am joined by Paul, aka Mad FM, Matt, aka Nerdphonic, and Dave, aka The Odd One Out. On this week's pod, we'll be talking about the big FM25 news that was announced this week. We'll also spotlight some Euro 2024 Wonderkids and predictions with the opening day fixture just days away, or when you're listening to this, has already happened. And if there's even more time, we might even have a very good quiz. But before we do that, lads, what have we been up to in the last couple of days since we last recorded? Who's winning and who's losing? Dave?
I'm a loser, apparently. Wolves have actually announced a signing already.
Wow.
Today, as we speak, as of today, a guy called Rodrigo Gomes. Looks a very good young player. Portuguese, obviously.
Braga, is it?
I was going to say shock.
Yeah, from Braga, yeah.
Is this the one that Atletico Madrid wanted?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I had a quick look. I think this is the earliest we've announced a signing for years. So
It's mad.
Or the latest?
yeah,
Those hiked up season ticket prices going straight back into the club.
I've renewed mine now because we've signed them.
Oh, there we go. Principles.
Yeah, principles, man. Fuck them kids. Thanks for a sign.
Pardon, David?
Clip that, everyone, please.
There's your levy sorted.
Hello, Merry Christmas from prison.
Honestly, I've actually got that on my stream deck now. I have the Discord sound as well, and I played it in stream where it sounded like somebody was ringing me, and then I answered. I went hello, and I pressed the Dave button, and somebody in the chat thought Dave was actually on the call.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go, as we're a football manager podcast, let me talk about the best football manager in the world. Ten Hag staying at Old Trafford. Fantastic. There you go. I mean, say no more. And then he's given him a new contract as well. So happy days. Matt, are you okay? Are you well?
I am. Yep.
Yeah.
No dangers in the trouser department in the gym. So that's all good.
It's a positive.
Let it rip.
I feel like it's something that
row.
people want to, know about.
Yeah.
I
feel like-
a close call.
You know, like the old health and safety boards at work where it just says like 8 weeks since an accident. I think that's what we need in the background. Matt's like a week 2 without an accident.
Yeah.
Days
No
since I shit myself.
brown notes, 0. Yeah.
And the COVID kid, how are you? Are you okay?
Still have it. I actually tested again today because I wanted to go out home to visit my parents, but the 2 red lines on the test were even redder than the first day I tested positive, so I'm
I
still
think that means it's
riddled
worse.
with COVID. Yeah,
Or
I
you're
did stream
pregnant.
though.
One of the two.
Or I'm pregnant, yeah. I shouldn't have pissed on
Which
it today.
test are you taking? Yeah, I was going to say. Did you check the test before you actually took
While
it?
you were shitting yourself, I was pissing myself, Matt, and that's how our weeks are going, respectively.
I know you two are old, but seriously, you should have some more control over your bodily fluids. Anyway, let's move on because I don't think I've ever said bodily fluids on this podcast before. I think we need to move on to the big important news that's happened and come out of Football Manager this week about SI signing a multi-year Premier League licensing agreement that will see full kits, badges, player faces, and no more Man U, FC, and Football Manager for the first time. I think this is huge news for somebody that gravitates to the Premier League quite a lot. I think this is massive. What about you guys? You happy with this? You think this is good? Good direction for the game?
I know who won't be happy, and it's Joe, because Joe loves his OG face back from 1997. And that's probably not going to be a thing
But the
anymore.
thing is, if the face pack is still a thing, though, he'll still have all his old faces.
If
It'll
he wants,
override it, won't it?
Yeah.
Everyone's
But
happy.
there'll be no need to download all. Like, if you're doing that for the first time, or if you buy a new laptop or whatever, it's a bit of a pain in the ass because it takes a long time to download all the space. So it's good that we won't have to do it. Well, we'll still have to
Download all
but
of the
not as
space.
much.
So we're getting dark matter now.
Is that what I said? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still delirious. All of the space it takes up because obviously Premier League faces will help for people who specifically manage there.
Yeah, I mean, I cloud mine and I play on my Mac and my MacBook, and I have none of it. And obviously, being in the Premier League at the moment, it looks really weird when you go off one to the other, so it's not good. So yeah, I agree. I think it's awesome. I think it would just be nice. And I wonder whether we had the debate a while ago about FIFA players will this start bringing some FIFA players over to the table because now it's all licensed and it's all proper and see the proper badges? Or do you think this is still a little step away from that?
You might, to be fair, you might see a small. I don't think that's a deal breaker as such, but you would have had a lot of people still look at the game thinking, flipping it, like it's not even, you haven't got the badges or the player faces, and people would have turned their nose up at that. So I think this will definitely attract more, interest in the game. But I think this is like massive. Like I don't like bearing in mind. I mean, you three have played the game a lot longer than I have as well. But like we've never seen this in a championship manager or football manager game. We've never seen the full licensing. So this is a huge, huge step for SI and football manager. Like it's massive. And I didn't even clock it till like you've just said it there, the Man UFC thing. Bear in mind, didn't Man U literally take Sports Interactive to court about this or something?
Yep.
So
Not long ago either.
To have that back in FM's favour, it's huge.
Yeah, we might talk about some of the things that might improve in the game, but even from a marketing perspective, from Sports Interactive's view, like when we see them publish various different assets and graphics of the game and the new features, how often have we seen Watford and Wimbledon for like the last 10 years? And if they're able to throw in, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Man UFC, formerly known, that will make a huge difference for them for what they can actually show in a marketing.
I anticipate more collaboration with more clubs across the league. They did a similar thing with the EFL during COVID, didn't they? Where they had various tie-ins. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that. They already do that with the clubs that they were officially licensing, Brighton and Man City. So I would imagine that opens the door for much more of that. Plus, they featured on Sky like for various bits and pieces. So I think all across the board, there will be more eyeballs on the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see records being broken again for number of new users and things like that because of the extra exposure it's inevitably going to get. Think of all of the big players that they would have loved to have got in the past to sort of
and
do
ones that
the
probably
little
play the
pieces
game
to
as well.
camera. Exactly. It widens that net vastly. Like you've got not just in the UK either. Obviously, the Premier League it's globally massive too. So you're getting into a lot more territories. Could see a big uptick in America as well, where it's obviously popular. So from that perspective, I think it's good. The other bit which we included in the article, which is available on the website, which was about what sort of led to this coming, because as Dave said, it's never happened before. And to be honest, I would never in a month of Sundays thought we would have been seeing this at this sort of scale. Like the Champions League last year and Europa League was a surprise. And then to get this the following year, the figures involved, I would be really interested to see what that would be like. But is this a factor of like EA and FIFA disbanding? Is there an element of that that's allowed this to happen? The exclusivity that they would have previously had, has that lapsed? Or what else has changed to make
a big bag of money
be a possibility? Well, I don't want to speculate on it just being purely money, but something must have unlocked something that has been blocked for a long time to allow this to occur.
I was going to say, like, I can picture the meme now on Twitter with the guy with the dominoes, and it is at the front it is EA not being called FIFA anymore, and at the back it's FM getting Premier League licenses. I personally think that what you just referenced there is probably the key factor. Again, I don't really want to talk about the dollar signs behind it, but I just think there's got to be some sort of correlation between the two. I think it's great. I really do.
Do you think maybe also the success of the Champions League license as well?
Yeah.
Like how well that has been, like they've showcased it. The other point alongside that is obviously FM25 is a big, supposedly going to be a big step forward graphically, or at least potentially graphically, because of the move to a different game engine. So I wonder if maybe it's that they finally caught up. They've moved on from 2009, and because now that the Premier League feels that they're confident enough that the game product itself is going to be representative enough of them as a brand, that maybe that's also contributed to it. Again, this is all speculation, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone is protective over how they appear, like the Premier League. Admittedly, they've just I think they've just signed a deal with Guinness as well. So, but they're throwing it all around to everyone now. But I do wonder if that would have perhaps put them off, even if it was on the table, because I mean, I wouldn't want to have my stuff emblazoned all over something that doesn't look great. And so maybe now that we're perhaps entering a new era graphically, maybe that has also unlocked a few options for them too.
Yeah, well, and plus, like the Bundesliga, for example, that was a pretty big one. So you don't want to be looking around saying, okay, the Bundesliga is arguably quite a progressive league, so maybe there's elements of that too. I think it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of things we don't know about the Premier League and about, I don't know, like things with PSR and FFP and like just general data things, even stuff with VAR. FM is probably the most realistic representation of football, and in terms of like the data and the detail. It'll be interesting to see if that unlocks more, and will the Premier League still be happy with that, or will they be keeping a lot of doors closed? And even Dave, like from a data perspective, you guys, when you're doing the research every year, will you get more clarity or more access? Will you be able to speak to clubs? Will they be more reciprocal to information? We remember we had a conversation about a year ago about some contract information, and we
need to be careful. Don't want to get in trouble with the boss man.
I just set him up again. I just set up Dave again. But stop looking at
LinkedIn, Dave.
I'm not saying a word.
I prefer not to speak. In one way, I'm thinking, does it open more doors in terms of access? But will there also still be some doors closed because there are things the Premier League won't want out there that by nature the game usually does show us?
My thoughts are sorry. My thoughts are again purely speculation. But Dave referenced it earlier. They've obviously had the issue with Manchester United. I wonder whether that needed all to be ironed out before this, and maybe this has been in the works for a while, and it was just that kind of final signature on that part to go away, and now that gives them the license.
This is the only reason the Man United takeover went through.
Yeah,
the Glazers had to sell it just so Football Manager could get the license.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Imagine that. You never know, Dave. If any way to get the Glazers out, mate, and FM becomes better, mate, what more can we ask as a Manchester United fan? But no, I think it's really, really exciting. I think it's really cool. Mad.
I'm looking forward to Premier League years of being officially a thing as part of like the milestones. Now you get of your season review once you're in the Premier League. That would be not. But that sort of thing would be quite cool.
Imagine you could like press a button and like it does like a Premier League years style season review.
Like on the manager timeline, you get replaced, or your season review is like a highlights package.
A highlights package, that'd be insane.
I'm trying to think. I haven't looked in much detail with the Bundesliga being licensed, and like I don't even know if this is even more in depth. But let's say if we load up FM25, do you think there'll be a lot more historical information in there about, like, let's say player stats or team stats more than we would have seen versus when you start
quite a lot, to be fair. Like I would say, like considering it's unlicensed at the moment, it's not like old players are missing. Like if you look at players who or managers that were famous players, you go back, you can see their full career. Obviously has all of their international caps as well. So I don't know if it's going to allow them to do more with that. It would be nice if I mean, we could be reading way too much into the sort of the initial announcement video they used on Twix.
It's just kits and faces and nothing else.
But like there was a lot of historical footage used on that. There were old like sort of pivotal moments. No two guy goals, but but there were sort of pieces of Premier League history dotted throughout that. It wasn't just like last season that's just gone. So maybe, who knows? I guess we will find out once the game is released.
How exciting. Well, if you do want more details, there is an article on 5starpotential.com, and the link will be in the description if As a Party remembers to do it.
No pressure.
Look, there's also massive news as well. In case somehow you live under a rock, you're not aware that Euro 2024 will have officially kicked off in England. Probably are on the front pages for the bad reasons this morning.
I think what you should do is record. If we record 2 versions of this, like sad and upset. England have lost to Serbia in their opening match, or they've won. Like, so we just do 2 takes and then pick the best one.
Or
I'll just be the opposite.
Or we could just do the please skip forward to this bit if England win and skip forward to this bit if England lose.
It's like an adventure book.
Yeah, I used to do them as a kid, which is funny because I can't read, but I love the adventure.
You love the pictures.
Anyway, FM24 Euro 2024 has officially kicked off this week, and to celebrate the occasion, we've published our own, Mad has football list of Wonderkids to watch for this year's tournament, choosing one player from each participation nation. And who you should be keeping an eye on in FM24. To see the full list, you can check out our thread on X or see 5starpotential.com. I'm not going to read it all, so there you go. You go find it over there. So we're not going to go through all 24, but we have all picked out 1 or 2 Wonderkids that we think's worth a mention. Talking about how they performed in FM this year, and of course how we think they'll fare out in the tournament itself with their respective nations. So who wants to start, Matt? I mean, as you wrote the list, you probably should start. Who have you picked, and where's he from? I feel like a game show host there.
Derek,
what's your name and where'd you come from?
There'll be no Irish ones anyway, so I can't talk about Evan Ferguson. There'll be no bingo card Evan Ferguson this week, folks.
It's a Newcastle player, though.
No, definitely isn't. Although one I'd like Newcastle to sign. As I went through all the teams, you kind of get a feel for each of the teams by looking at the average age and how young some of their players are. There are some teams that literally don't have a player below the age of 21.
Mentioning feel and young players concerning you and Dave. Jesus,
Matt, I'm so happy you're back, Matt.
Look, I think Dave would just be happy. Matt, I think Dave would just be happy to be on the same list as Matt.
Where's the nearest prison to you, man? Just out of interest.
I'm in it now. So the Wonderkid I'm going to talk about currently plays for PSV Eindhoven in the Netherlands, but is a Belgian international, and it is Johan Bakayoko. And this is definitely a player that I would love to see Newcastle sign. Right-sided kind of a winger, likes to cut inside. He gets, I suppose, an easy comparison is like just saying he's the right-sided Dako. You've Dako on the left and then Bakayoko on the right, but they're actually quite different. I think Bakayoko has a lot more decisiveness, a bit more end product, a bit more quality in terms of distribution and that kind of thing. He picked up 14 goals and 14 assists in the Eredivisie. So that's where he kind of caught my eye. But the reason I want to talk about him here, obviously today, and in FM context, is when you look at his profile, and you'll see it there on the site, lads. I don't think his FM profile is very representative in that current state of how he's played this season. Obviously, we're now a season in. I would imagine a bump in FM25. I also think he'll definitely get a big move. And the sad thing is, I'd love him to go to Newcastle. We have a big gap on the right-hand side for a right forward that cuts in a bit. And the problem is, I want him to have a good tournament because I think he's a good player. But if he has a good tournament, he's probably going to go up by about 20 million. And that's not good for Newcastle, who don't have loads to spend. And yeah, he has been linked with Newcastle very loosely, maybe Liverpool as well and Bayern. So I don't think he'll be a PSV player by the time next season starts. But let's see how Belgium do, because I think Belgium are always an interesting one at the Euros. You never know what you're going to get.
A really strange one. I mean, I still can remember that Rob Sukarno goal for Wales to knock Belgium out. How the hell did Wales beat them? Yeah, awesome. Dave, who's up next, mate?
I think he's probably going to be, he's been spoken about a lot already before the tournament. Benjamin Šeško from Slovenia.
Šeško.
Been an FM, very good FM player, probably the last two years or so. I remember I think the same year, him and Lorenzo Luca on the same sort of game. You basically saw one of the, one of those two. But Šeško is like very good. Obviously in England's group, so if obviously you watching England, I think he's going to be easy to spot. He's 6'4". FM still now is a top player, and I think he's just signed a new contract, hasn't he, at Leipzig, despite big interest from
extension to 2027, I think.
That's what happens when Arsenal come knocking. Just no, actually, I'll stay outside.
The big interest, already from some teams, but still so young. But this is where that a lot of players of his sort of age and quality can really make a name for themselves on a big stage. So I'm excited to see how he plays and see how he does, obviously against England as well. So I mean, I'm not a huge avid watcher of international football, so I didn't even know who were in England's group, to be honest, until I've just quickly read through this article again. But I don't think it's going to be easy for England. There's still some tough teams in there, to be honest. So I'll be interested. But Šeško is certainly one that I think a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we get the joys of seeing him up close and personal, and that's going to be scary. I mean, some people haven't probably seen him play before, but talk about him being a great player. So he is.
That's what we're going to get to. Do you remember the meme, the Leonardo DiCaprio? You're going to have that throughout the entire tournament if Šeško scores. All the FM players. It's him.
Well, Nerd, come on. Tell us something that we're going to all enjoy.
Oh, I had to pick him, really. Mr. Adam Wharton. Oh, it's a player I've had the privilege of watching since his debut. And I've not been as excited. No. Thank you very much. Blackburn Academy boy, who was on his debut too good for the Championship, was capable of running games in the Championship. I don't think I've seen such an exciting midfield prospect for a long time. And the thing is, he's such a hybrid player, and he's a player that I think is so hard for clubs to get. I see a lot of young Jack Wilshere in his style of play, in that he isn't a traditional box-to-box player, but is very good in the tackle, is incredibly progressive with his passing, but also can see the entire pitch and knows what's going on before it's happened. And there are elements of Pirlo's game that I think you can see, and he looks quite lackadaisical, and I think that maybe gives off the wrong impression. It's just because there's an air of grace about the way he moves around a pitch. He's not slow by any stretch, but he doesn't look quick either. Like a similar sort of Berbatov air about him. Maybe less of a Pirlo sort of wandering around, but such a fantastic playmaker. Some of the passes he would play when he was at Blackburn, but the quality of player in the rest of the team wasn't good enough to exploit how good he was on the ball. And I think he's improved as a player in such a short time since moving to Palace, obviously to a point where he's now getting England call-ups and is looking incredibly assured, even at such a tender age in comparison to some other players. I think he's something that England don't really have in any other form of player. And in the second of the two sort of friendlies, the one against Iceland, screaming out for him to play because needed to unlock a stubborn defence. He's that sort of player. And I think he's a good foil for the likes of Rice. And equally, he's good enough to sit back if Rice wants to go for a wander himself. So, yeah, very excited to see how he does. I hope he gets game time, and I hope it's not just one for his, experience for later on down the line with two eyes on the World Cup in 2 years' time. Because I think he would be... assuming injuries don't catch up or he doesn't just have a massive drop-off or this is his peak, which I don't think it is, given how quickly he's improved. since joining Palace. I think, yeah, he'll be a massive player for England going forward, as well as Palace. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves in a year's time to someone, a Bayern, a United, anyone, any of the top teams once he's sort of proven himself for a bit longer in a top division. In terms of FM, I think when he was initially assessed, it would have been when he was at Blackburn. So his attributes probably don't really marry up with where they probably should be now, even after the January update. I think he will have a massive bump up going into FM25 to reflect his increased stature in the game and also his increased importance and ultimately ability. But yeah, I hadn't been as I feel like I'm a proud father, and I think a lot of Blackburn fans feel the same sort of way, where that like you've had a young the part, he's like your son, and he's now moved on and he's doing really well. It's quite nice to see. I had a similar sort of feeling about Phil Jones when he sort of came through. I actually watched Phil Jones's debut live, and then seeing him sort of prosper, obviously reached his plateau quite sharpish. But
should have seen the look in your face.
See, the Phil Jones gurn is kind of the face I pull whenever I have an accident at the gym. So
I was going to say, I thought it's going to have an accident in the bedroom.
Either or. Matt, do you know because you mentioned like him and FM, and this could even tie into like having more info with Premier League licensing. But the fee was about 25 million, I think. I wonder, was there any?
It was about 18.
Clause or
there is
18,
some clause. There is some. There's definitely
sell on.
Sell
on would be interesting.
I think there is a sell on. And there is also, once he gets a competitive England cap, if he does, there's also a fee there that's due. So it's quite, Blackburn might be doing quite well this summer in terms of fees earned from transfers they've already made, because there's also David Raya, who's going to likely to join Arsenal on a permanent.
I think they've announced that.
But there's a significant sell-on clause for that when Brentford bought him from Blackburn, so that will be another decent amount coming in.
Yeah, well.
So yeah. Not trying to make this moved on from being a Spurs podcast, now a Blackburn and Wolves podcast. But
I just think it's it pains me to say it, but it's a very exciting time to be a proud Englishman with a team that we've got and the squad that we've got, and we've got some quality players. You talk about Wharton, then we've obviously got Maine who's come through, Bowden, these young lads that are just Bellingham are just fucking quality, and it's going to get wasted by Southgate. Anyway, I'm going to move on. And I'm going to talk about another player that's in our group, a bit like Dave. He's a striker. Well, not like Dave's not a striker. Dave's player was a striker. I'm going to go for Rasmus Højlund. I just feel, I'm going to fly the flag. There was a couple in the list, very good list, I will say. Xavi Simons being one of them, who, if you watch any of my content where we've actually had money, I love that guy, and I buy him where I can. But I just think Rasmus, he's had an okay-ish season. He's been leading the line for, the greatest team in the world. It's going to be a difficult thing to do that on his own with the service that he's getting. But when you watch him for Denmark, he is a different beast. He actually gets service, and he is he spearheads that team with Christian Eriksen behind, and I would say now he will probably get a few goals this year in the Euros and probably score one against us. But I think Denmark will make the knockouts, and I think he's going to have a fantastic tournament. And to be honest, I just love watching the kid smile because he loves a smile. So if he does, fantastic for me. I'm well happy for him.
I think he scored quite a lot of goals in qualifying as well, didn't he? I remember at one point
top goal scorer.
Was he top or him between him and Lukaku or something? So
yeah, I think he was. I think he was up there as top goal scorer for a while. I mean, he did score. He did do all right for United. He'd got 10 goals in the Premier League. He got 5 in 6 games in the Champions League, and in a team that finished 8th, didn't do that well. And like I said, the service was not fantastic. He had an injury this year as well. And I think it's a bit harsh for people to write him off for such a young lad. He is a bit raw. I'm not going to lie. He does remind me a little bit of Lukaku, as you mentioned him. He's big. He's strong. He's powerful. He's got a fucking terrible touch. And he needs about 4 chances to score a goal. A bit like Lukaku, but hopefully he will come good. Like I said, he's only 21. He got 14 caps and 7 goals for Denmark. So yeah, he's been on it for Denmark. So maybe he'll take that through into the competition. It's very exciting for him. Anyone got anyone else they want to highlight, or shall we move on to the next segment?
I think. Sorry, I had João Neves as well.
Oh, a Portuguese one.
Oh, of course. But wow. João Neves, literally the most Wolves player ever, but I don't think he will ever play for Wolves.
Oh mate, I want him to come to United so bad.
Yeah, I think Benfica, are holding out for like his release clause, which is like over 100 mil, but he's 18. On FM, unbelievable. Like genuinely such a good player, and I'd assume
it's such a new gen name as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, FM 25, I'd imagine his attributes are going to get even better. But I mean, even on FM 24 now, his attributes are just like he's technical. The only other than his marking, the only 2 lower than 12 are his set pieces, or is it? But then you got mentals who are unbelievable, physicals. But I think the only I'm not going to say he's going to sit here and say he's going to start every single game for Portugal, because I think there's still a lot of quality in that Portugal team. Probably a similar situation to Wharton, to be fair, where there are probably 3 or 4 players that start ahead of him. But yeah, it'd be one to watch certainly, and I think Portugal might surprise us a few people. I know they're going to be up there with one of the better teams in the tournament, but mad. I don't know if you saw the game against Ireland yesterday. The straightforward match.
I wouldn't read too much into Ireland beating Ireland 3-0. In fairness, I'm surprised it wasn't more.
Well, even Ronaldo still looks like
you've always got Ronaldo there, but the depth of their squad and midfield especially is sick. It's a question of can they get it right? If they can get it right, they'll win it. That's the way I feel about them. Roberto Martinez, not sure. Didn't really do it for Belgium. So yeah. The other player I was going to throw in.
I was just going to say, as we're talking about Portugal, we're obviously working on top predictions in a minute. You are absolutely right. When you again look at that team and you look at their talent, they've got some very good aging stars, but they've also got some very good talent coming through. And I do feel that people underestimate Portugal a lot, and they like to take the mickey out of Ronaldo. And obviously they are not the current champions. They're the previous champions, right? So they have won it recently. So I think you're right. I think they've got every chance.
I think they've got a lot of differentials on the bench as well, like just players that can come on and just completely change the games. So
and I know he's 39, and I know he's a bit of a twat, but Ronaldo is he's a match insane. He is insane, and he can grasp a game from a minute and make a moment. He can also do some other things, but that's the main thing we're going to prioritize on.
Allegedly. I mean, we're talking about Wonderkids, but I think they're going to have a 41-year-old Pepe playing in their back line.
I fucking love that as well.
He's still such a beast, though. Pepe. He's an absolute beast.
Yeah.
It is
the only other player I was going to throw out there, Duke, was he plays for Croatia. I don't know if he's going to get much game time either. Martin Baturina. This guy is tearing up at Dynamo Zagreb. In fact, he probably won't be there that long. But there's a lot of talk that this guy is the long-term Modric replacement. Now, Modric is 37 going into this tournament. So, again, depending on how Croatia do in the group, he's not going to play every minute. I would say he's one to watch, if not for this tournament, one to watch going forward, especially in FM. Martin Baturina. Very good. Double figures on all his attributes in the game, and that's before he probably gets a bump next season.
I mean, as we all mentioned, I mentioned it in the previous one, Xavi Simons as well. I think he's going to get more and more game time as their squad seems to get thinner and thinner with more and more injuries. I do feel that he's going to have some fun for Holland.
He's a baller.
He is a baller. And from what I've seen in the games I've seen him play live, he just gets a free reign to do what he wants, and he has no defensive responsibility, and he is just a creative player. And yeah, I think he's very impressive.
I can't believe he's still only 21. But I think his whole
been around for so long,
like 16, wasn't he? Yeah. So yeah, but he's
like an Odegaard Like he's
How old?
he's
I mean,
20,
how old
just
are the god now?
just
like,
turned 25, and so we've known about
is he
him for
actually,
over
like,
10
I
years.
thought if you said he was like 28, 29, like I would have thought, oh, fair enough. That's mad.
We were talking about him at work yesterday or day before, Udigan. And apparently, like he's that young. He's been to the teams that he's had, and he only has an FA Cup winners medal. That's it.
Yeah,
It's mental, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
Such a good player.
Johnny Evans signed for Manchester United this year on a free, and he got an FA Cup winners medal. Just saying. Okay, let's move away from that. Let's still stick onto the Euros. Let's get our crystal balls out. Matt likes playing with his ball, so let's get it out, Matt, on the table. I want a prediction from you now. I'm saying this now. It is currently, as the time stands, the 12th of June. It's 7 minutes past 10. We have not seen a single minute of football yet. Matt, who's in the final and who wins Euro 2024? Now, you are going to find out who doesn't know the groups very well, because obviously some teams can't meet each other till the final and some teams can't meet each other in the final. But Dave's currently Googling
I'm Googling
right
the
this
bracket,
second. Who's in the final, Matt? Who's winning?
Not sure about the final. I feel like home turf for Germany is, even though they're not the strongest of German sides, I feel like there is always home advantage, regardless of who it is. But then I don't know. This is where I turn indecisive. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't pick the two finalists. Germany will obviously be one. I wonder if this is the sort of tournament where there might be a dark horse emerge, like one that's completely unexpected, like a Ghana from World Cup a few years ago when they got to the semis and lost to Uruguay because of a certain Mr. Suarez. But that sort of performance where they're a team made up of bit part players, but the sum of their parts is worth more than an individual.
Yeah, obviously, don't forget some of the third place teams are going to go through as well, so that can cause a little bit of an upset and a little bit of jeopardy down the line as well. So yeah, I mean, it's good.
Like Norway, like for example, Odegaard and Haaland, cheat code.
Yeah, but then they're not in the tournament.
No.
Yeah, I don't
no, I'm using them as an example.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I was going to say, what? No, that's, yeah. Okay,
your Danish example of and it's like the BTEC version of that is Eriksson and Højlund.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of all you need is two players to link up. I appreciate I'm undermining my own point of saying about a team who is greater than some of their parts.
Yeah.
But you equally have the Steven Gerrard Torres link up too that could be pretty strong too.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one to call, but. So you're going to go with the Germans winning?
The thing is, I've not seen much of the other teams play, and the friendlies that you have pre-tournament have been so all over the place that it's who knows what's going in. I've put Germany down to win. I reckon they'll win, but they'll lose the first game. Scotland will win 1-0.
Oh no, I would probably disconnect my Twitter for a week if that happened. Imagine
it's all right. I can't understand Scottish Twitter words anyway, so
football.
Just use different language entirely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jace.
Not good. Okay, Mad, talk to me. Who's winning in the final and who's in the final?
I am in a similar mindset to Matt. I just have a feeling about Germany. It seems to be this season it's just all been coming up Germany for many reasons. The home thing helps. They just pretty strong all over the pitch without too much weakness. Florian Wirtz, I think, is gonna, if he starts well and stays fit, big player for the tournament. And it really just depends on what Havertz does.
Your point on Wirtz as well. But I wonder if he's got a big mental thing to get over, which is his performance in the
cup final.
He just didn't turn up at all, and he got subbed quickly in the Europa League. Was it? I can't remember. I can't remember. Was it Europa League?
Yeah,
or
Europa
was
League.
it It was the Europa
Europa
League
League,
because
yeah.
they timed it weirdly, where the Conference League final was after the Europa League, which I wouldn't have. Anyway, don't understand. But he wasn't great in that at all. He just didn't turn up. But I wonder if it's it's Cruz's last stand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a bit poetic there. That still probably too good to really retire, but wants to go out on a high. It'll go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I'll let you carry on. Sorry for interjecting.
No, it's cool. I think if I was to look and say who could beat France in a final, because that's who I think the finalists would be, Germany and France. I'm fairly certain that bracket can happen. I think of all the teams that could beat France, you'd probably throw Germany up there at home if it was a final. So yeah, I'd go with Germany. But again, there's a bit of reliance there. It's between Havertz. I think it's Fulkrug is the other kind of main striker option. One of them's going to need to score 3-4 goals in the 5-6 games of play.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I do think France and Germany can play. I do think people are obviously bigging up France, but a bit like England, I think it's an underrated group they've got. They've got to play Netherlands, Poland, and Austria, and I do think some of those games aren't the easiest, as they look a bit like the games that we've got. I don't think they're as easy as people make out. But yeah, interesting. As a party, Malta, no.
He's Irish. Dave is Irish now.
Yeah,
yeah, he is.
I just looked at the bracket to try and work it out. So I think the semi-finals will probably be Germany, Portugal, France, England. So it's out of those games, who do I think is going to win? I would probably back Portugal, but I think the home advantage, like you boys are saying, is going to be absolutely massive for the Germans.
Did us wonders, by the way. And I'm not being I'm not being sarcastic. Like, I know we lost in the final, but when you look at the games in the last Euros against Germany and these teams, we did play better at home.
Yeah, and then but then I look at that German team and I'm not overly convinced. But saying that, they have got some good younger players that have come through recently, and like you said, they've done well domestically as well in some of the continental competitions. So probably Germany to beat Portugal, and then obviously I'd want England to win, but I think France will probably beat England as well. England on paper have got such a strong team. It's just when they turn up, and we're just used to them not living up to the expectations now. So I think if it's a Germany-France final, I'll probably just back France. I just think they're so good at the moment.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to go different to all of you. I'm going to go different to all of you, and I'm going to say that a bit like Dave. I'm going to do my semis as well. I think England face Italy in the semi-final, and I don't think Germany go through. I think Italy knocked them out. So then I would say out of those two, I would say England will get over Italy and get their kind of just rewards from previous. And then I think the other side is Portugal and France. And I think Portugal beat France with a moment of brilliance, overhead kick from 39-year-old Ronaldo, upstep a 96th minute red card to 49-year-old Pepe, which means he misses the final and England win. It's coming home. It's coming home. Let's go. And I think Portugal win on penalties in the final. And England lose back-to-back Euros, unfortunately. Like Dave said, I do think England have probably on paper got one of the best squads, but we don't play football on paper. We play it on the pitch.
I'm going to throw you one more dark horse as well, Dupe. I'd say keep an eye on Ukraine.
Yeah.
They have a decent group: Belgium, Slovakia, Romania.
Yeah.
They've been usually pretty good in qualifying, and if you look at some of their attacking options, your man Dovovic, that was playing with Spanish team Champions League, Girona, was he top scorer in La Liga? I think.
Yeah, he's been linked with us. He's been linked with us.
He's unreal. Mudryk is there, Shankov is there. They've just have a really, really strong attacking line, and then they've got like Zabarny, the Bournemouth guy in centre. I just think they've got something about them. So yeah, I just keep an eye on Ukraine. One to watch. Dark horse.
Okay. I mean, that's not a bad way to go quickly as we got time. Matt, is there a certain dark horse you want to highlight, or I mean, is there somebody that you think would do better than you expect?
I wonder because I was just looking through the groups. Group F, you've got Portugal, but then the rest of it is Czechia, Georgia, and Turkey. So there's obviously gaps to one of those three has to go through. So I wonder if maybe, I don't know, Turkey are not horrendous, but they're also one of those sort of slow burners. And then the other, I think that's perhaps, or maybe Hungary. Like England have been troubled by them in the past, and that's one of those groups where the second place is very much up for grabs. It's then dependent on obviously how the draws fall. So maybe Hungary are another one to look out for. We've got Szoboszlai, and
Turkey
others.
have 3 FM Wonderkids that we've talked about on this pod before.
Mr. Gula, although he's injured, isn't he? Still, is he injured still? Because I know
he's back.
I'm not sure.
He was injured for a lot of the season, but he came back and he scored like 5 goals for Real Madrid. They also have the sort of Yildiz as well.
They're the sort of team that I think maybe not quite ready yet because they're in that like transitional period. Not that they've really had like a strong generation on generation team, but I wonder if they are maybe due one.
So Matt has gone for my
Turkey or
feeling.
Hungary.
Yeah, my favourite feeling, Hungary. As a party,
like feeling turkeys.
What's the show? Dark horse.
Yeah, dark horse. So somebody not, might be doing better than people would expect, or somebody they've written off, or I mean, I've got mine. If you want me to go before, just in case you steal mine.
I don't know. I think they're not necessarily a dark horse, but I think Netherlands have actually got quite a lot of quality in their team. I think obviously they're a good side, but there are teams that I think will be much, stronger than them on paper. But I think you look at some of the players they add into their team. Xavi Simons, who we spoke about earlier, Frimpong, who's going to be playing, had a really good season as well. I watched little bits of their game the other day, and they look, really good. I think they got some serious quality. So it'd be interesting to see what the Dutch come up with throughout the tournament. To be fair,
I like that.
Their odds would have jumped. Their odds would have jumped quite high because they've lost Frankie De Jong and Koop Miners, which is probably their starting 2 midfielders.
Yeah, they have.
Good bet. Good bet.
They have picked up matey boy that's been on.
Koeman in charge of his crap, and he's
Dave retracts that statement. I'm going to go for Spain. Nobody's really mentioned Spain. They got a tough group. They are in with Croatia. They're in with Italy, and they are in with Albania. Tough group.
How Albania qualify for this, by the way?
I know, mad, isn't it? A tough group. However, I just don't think you can write off Spain. I just don't think you can write off the 3-time winners. Are they 2 times? But anyway, I don't think you can write them off. I think they've got some quality in there. They've got some young, talented players. They've got some old heads in there. And I would be very interested to see who comes out of that group. And potentially the 3 of them could, Spain, Italy, and Croatia.
You mentioned Spain. We were talking about this after the pod recording at the weekend. And the makeup of that squad, like compared to what it's been like in previous years, I think I counted 4 Barca players and only 3 Real Madrid players, which is such a big like cultural shift for a Spanish side, which is usually you'll maybe get one other in this sort of what would be the starting 11, whereas it seems to be a much greater mixture of players from teams all across Spain. So it'll be interesting to see how that actually plays. Well, there's some standout Wonderkids who it could be, there. Well, you would argue that Lamine Yamal is already a star player anyway at a tender age of 16, 17. But it could be one of those breakout tournament for someone like that to really announce themselves on the world stage. It could be quite interesting for them.
I absolutely agree. Right, Matt, if you're very, very quick, we'll do a quiz. If not, we're going to go to bed.
I'm always quick.
That's what she said.
Same.
Yeah. I've thrown together just a bit of a Euros trivia quiz. A couple of different sections in it. Really simple. You can just shout your name for the answer because it's just gonna jump through kind of speed questions. But we'll start off. The first section is looking back on a few of the last previous Euros tournaments, and I'm looking at the player of the tournament that was voted. So we'll work our way backwards from the most recent. So the first question is player of the tournament in 2020 when the Euros was won by Italy.
Ronaldo? Dupe, Ronaldo.
Incorrect.
Who's top goal scorer? Do I go again or do I have to wait?
You can shout if you want.
Dupe.
Dupe.
Harry Kane.
Incorrect.
Dave, Mbappe.
Incorrect. I'm not looking for top scorer here, FYI.
Dave, Chiesa.
Dave. Incorrect.
Oh, Dave. Dave, you're Dave. Dupe.
Dupe.
Donnarumma.
Donnarumma gets you the point. Great
Take
shout.
penalties.
He was the player of the tournament, yeah. Had a fine tournament. Hasn't been as good since, though. Next, we go back to Euro 2016, which was won by Portugal.
Dupe.
Dupe.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Won by Portugal. Oh, would it be? It would be Eder who actually scored the.
Nah,
Incorrect. No. I can tell you that Portugal beat France in the final 1-0 after extra time with that goal scored by Eder.
Dave, Benzema.
Dave. Incorrect. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it well, though.
No, but we talked about this.
Dave,
last
Griezmann.
week. I was going to say
Griezmann gets Dave the point.
It's because he fucking mentioned that we weren't looking for top goal scorer in the last one. Put me off.
Antoine Griezmann is the correct answer. Right, we go back to Euro 2012 when Spain beat Italy in the final by 4-0. Who was the player of the tournament?
Dave.
Dave and Meyer. All right, Dave?
Sorry,
David. I don't know if
David Silva. Sorry.
Incorrect.
Iniesta.
Oh,
I'll give it to him. It's Andre Iniesta is the correct answer. I'll give it to you, Matt.
that's what I was going for.
Correct player of the tournament. Back to Euro 2008.
I was literally. Sorry. I was going to go for him or Xavi, so it would have been one of them.
One or the other. Back to Euro 2008, which was Spain beating Germany in the final by 1-0. Who was player of the tournament?
Dupe?
Dupe.
Was that one Xavi?
Yes. Xavi Hernandez, player of the tournament 2008. I'm only going back as far as 96 yards, so only 3 more to go. Euro 2004, which was won by Greece in a 1-0 win over Portugal. Who was player of the tournament?
Dupe.
Nerd.
Dupe.
Some random Greek guy.
Not wrong.
I've got a legit actual guess. So
go ahead, Matt.
Rather than Karagounis.
Incorrect.
Dave. Pavlidis.
Incorrect.
Bassinas.
Incorrect.
Dave.
Right track though.
Stavros Dallas.
Stavros Dupe.
Mamos.
Incorrect.
Dave.
I can tell you this.
Stelios Yiannakopoulos.
Incorrect.
Dupe.
Dupe.
Ella Melaka.
Stop swearing, Grecian.
I bet you. Hang on. I bet you he's been called that before.
He definitely has.
Yeah,
I can tell you this is a player who has played in England.
Samaras.
Incorrect. Is a midfielder. Once played for Leicester City.
Greek.
Played for Leicester City between 1998 and 2000. Defensive midfielder of sorts.
He's not the. I don't know his name. I'm not even going to ever.
Hang on.
I think Matt is the one who should get it.
It's
of the three of you.
Matt.
Yeah, it's all Matt. Like.
I can picture his fucking face. I feel. Oh.
Matt's face is actually a little bit red here if you're watching on YouTube.
Really
He's
annoying.
getting vexed.
Because it would have
Should I
been.
put you out of your misery.
Not yet. Please don't. Because it was Muzzy, is it? Neil Lennon era, that is.
I don't think he's ever played for Greece.
I know they didn't. One played for Turkey, with the other played for Northern Ireland.
Yes,
so
true.
you know.
He was the captain of the team that won Euro 2004.
This is gonna kill me.
I can picture this Don, but I don't know what his name is.
Yeah, I can.
I got no clue. I think when I say I got
Go
no clue,
on.
I can
I don't know
throw
what his
some
name
in.
is.
All I can give you left would be initials.
Go on.
So it would be TZ.
It is Zed. I fucking. Oh.
I'm enjoying watching Matt's play here. It's
Xanacosis.
great.
Xanacosis?
Well, I give it to you, Matt.
I don't know.
Go on,
And,
Right.
Dupe and Dave. Theo Zagorakis.
Fuck!
No idea.
Fuck!
I just said a Z word.
Right.
I could picture his face. I could like even his stupid gelled hair and his fat sideburns.
Raging.
If you're listening,
Euro 2000.
congratulations.
Yeah. We're happy, delighted for the Greeks. Euro 2000. France beat Italy in the final 2-1 after extra time. Who was player of the tournament?
Dupe. Zidane.
Zinedine Zidane, correct answer.
Scored the 2 against
For a point
England
for
at the
Dupe.
start. That must be probably the first time in history that there has been back-to-back player of the tournaments with the surname starting with Z.
That is unbelievable
What a stat
trivia
that
to be
is.
sharing.
Yeah.
Gotta be. I'm calling it now.
Wow, never heard before. Right, and the last one of this
There you
round, Euro 96, where, of course, Germany beat the Czech Republic. Who was player of the tournament? Dupe.
Alan Shearer.
Incorrect.
I just
Was
remember he
top
was top goal
scorer,
scorer.
but not goal move. Dave.
Zambrotta. 3 fucking Zs in a row.
Incorrect.
Jeez.
Should have gone for Zola.
Imagine that.
Wheeler. Yeah. Germany.
Nerd. Andreas Muller.
Nerd. Incorrect. But he's close.
Does that mean he's German then? Bierhoff.
Incorrect.
Dave. Good Muller.
Dave. Incorrect.
Right.
Karol Poborski.
Incorrect. This is a German midfielder.
Oh, it is German. Can I? Kunz.
Hang on.
Sorry, Dave, for the editing.
That's not
German
fair, that's
midfielder who would have
amazing.
played for Borussia Dortmund.
Matthias Sammer.
Matthias Sammer gets Matt the point.
Yes.
Good shot.
Never heard him.
Fair play. Now, a couple more lightning individual questions and then we're done. Can you tell me who has the most tournament finals goals scored in Euros history at the actual finals?
Dave.
As in player or
Dave.
team?
Player, sorry. Which player has scored the most goals at Euros tournaments? Dave.
Closer.
Incorrect.
Dupe?
It's
Dupe.
gonna have to be.
Oh. No, I'm trying to
Just
think.
guess.
I'm going to have to push you for an
Xavi.
answer. Incorrect.
Xavi.
Goals.
Well, he's been in like he
Ronaldo.
scored in one. I can remember him scoring in one.
Don't say it's Ronaldo.
That's
In the
silly.
final.
14 goals.
Fuck
Cristiano
Oh.
Ronaldo.
Hey,
That's what I was too
I'm
obvious,
thinking you
man.
mean the final.
No, the
The
tournament
That's
finals.
why I said Xavi because I know he
Oh,
scored in
sorry.
one final.
No,
and they
no,
were
the
in the
tournament finals, like, not
Well,
including
fucking
qualifiers.
say
I
that
know
then.
you meant.
Don't just say final.
I know you
Finals. Anyway, okay. I think everybody else knows
they don't use that phrase anymore, to be fair, much, do they? Finals. That used to be a
No.
thing. Well, it's the World Cup finals. But you never hear that
No,
phrase much.
it's the
anymore.
World Cup final, which is the last game that decides
No,
who
the
actually
finals
wins it.
is like you knock out the group.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
proper.
I'm
what you
old
mean.
school. Right. 2 more questions to go. Second last question. Can you tell me which are the only 2 countries that have hosted the Euros more than once?
Dupe.
Dupe.
England.
Incorrect.
We part hosted it last year.
Not including the last one. That was
Right,
a
move
novel.
the fucking goalpost so much.
Dave
Italy.
is correct. They've hosted it twice.
Very good.
Germany.
Will it not be France?
Germany
I'm
probably.
going to give the point to Dupe. I'm going to give the point to Dupe. It is France because we have Germany and we also have West Germany, which
Oh.
Technicalities.
Technicality. Fucking hell.
So it is France. Point for Dupe.
See where
And
we
the
go
last
with
question. Last question, lads. Still 3 points to play with this question.
Oh.
Can you tell me the 3 stadiums that have hosted the final, Dupe, the actual final,
Dupe.
the last game? 3
What's up?
stadiums have held it more than once. Dupe.
Oh, well, Wembley would have held it more than once, but it's a different Wembley. So you're going to allow
I'm
me
gonna
that
give you the
technicality?
Oh God,
Wembley.
yeah, technicality. Old Wembley and New Wembley. If we,
Yeah.
if,
Technicality.
It's called Wembley. It's called Wembley. Gets you a point, Dupe. That's
it
one.
definitely
There are
wasn't
2
Alwick
other
or
stadiums.
Wembley.
This is
There
like
was
when
definitely
Teach got that
Old
point
and
for
New.
calling DC United Washington and got a point. Remember that?
Dupe,
Yeah.
Remember that? It was about 4 years ago. That was bollocks. that
Yes.
was.
Dupe,
Yes. Dupe.
Stade de France.
Stade de France has only had it once.
Dave,
Dave.
what's it called in Germany? The Olympic Stadion in Germany.
Is correct. Gets you a point.
Oi. What a
Including
shout,
this
wasn't
year,
it?
we'll have it twice.
So it hasn't held. That's only once, though. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
that is
flaws in
true.
this question.
Confirmed. It's confirmed.
With a lot
So
of-
Fuck off
I'm
with
a
your
bit
Washington.
confused at how you're doing this because you've just said
Hello, German FA. Yes, I'd like to arrange a bomb.
Wow. Call an ambulance, but not for me.
It's just so it gets moved. That's all.
Last one. Dupe has gone. Dupe has ended the call. He's terminated the call. End of podcast.
Dupe's coming in
What
live
has he
from the
gone?
Olympic Stadion.
What is this guy doing?
This is all part of Matt's plan to get back to hosting. He gets to close out the pod and then he's back being the host.
It's fine. I mean, it wasn't really part of my plan. Have no plan.
Here he is.
I literally just clicked buy on Amazon for a fucking wall chart and it just crashed my Oprah. Sorry.
Must
I
be
also
some
have-
wall chart.
So I haven't stopped for that.
It's fine. Just
The
carry on.
mic
This
is
is still
sounding a
recording.
bit dodgy.
Is it okay?
It'll be alright. It'll be alright.
And the last stadium to have held
I'm
European
a bit
Championship
confused,
final
man,
more than
because
once.
you said that France. Who was the other nation that had done it twice?
Italy.
So France have had it 3
Good shout.
times, but the Stade de France has only had it once.
Oh, so it's the other one that France has had.
Who knows? Nerd,
Nerd,
heard your
what's
name
your shout?
shout.
Oh, I was going to say if it's going to be Italy, I was going to say either Olympic Stadium or San Siro if it was for Italy. But
I haven't said it was France, by the way. He said it was France. So
Oh.
what's your actual guess here?
I'm going for the Olympic Stadium or Roma Stadium.
Is correct. The Stadio Olimpico has held it twice.
Stadio
Great
Olimpico,
shout. Matt.
that's-
Fair play. Sorry, Matt. I threw you off the scent there. I was going to go for Marseille next. So I thought it was in France.
Yeah, so actually it was Marseille was one of them. They had it once in the Velodrome, and the other one was the Parc des Princes. They also had
Ah.
it in France as well. That was a
that,
very close quiz.
Whose stadium is that? Is that Lyon's? No. Who's?
I think it's just a
Which?
national stadium. Parc
Is that
des
the
Princes.
national? Okay.
No, I thought that's where. Isn't that
PSG? It's one of the other. I can't
PSG?
remember.
I thought it was PSG's.
So,
Maybe it's
so
the
that
other
is
way around
Stade
then.
de France.
Stade de France. Dunno.
Twice.
No.
A lot
Not
of
by name.
technicalities in this question. I don't
A
like.
lot
it.
of technicalities. A very close quiz, though, lads. I can tell you in third place, Dave was on 3 points. In second place was Matt on 4. But just about over the line with 5 points on a technicality.
I was going to
is
say on a
Duke.
technicality. You got it on a technicality.
Theo
hashtag.
Zakaragis, you cock.
To be fair, I don't think I deserve the Wembley shout, Matt. So I'm gonna say we tied.
Fine, it's fine.
We tied. Well, thankfully, that brings episode 357 to a close. You can find the links for each of us in the podcast description or by visiting 5starpotential.com, where you can find all of our latest Football Manager content, including that full list of the Euro 2024 Wonderkids to watch. We also have a Euro 2024 Fantasy League running, so check it out on our Twitter page for more information on how to join. 5-Star Potential is available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and most of the popular podcast apps or platforms, with a new podcast released every single week. Thank you all for listening. There'll be more from us next week. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Bye, folks.
Goodbye.
What
I
did your
waved
voice
and then
go,
didn't
Dave?
say goodbye.